and welcome to our favourite stories. We've picked our most favourite stories to read just to you, and we hope you love them as much as we do. Please sit back, relax, snuggle up with your favourite toy, and we hope you enjoy our stories.
A Chair for My Mother by Vera Williams. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill up the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup, and when I finished, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar, and my mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work, and sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money and put out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips, and some days only a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too, and while we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we're going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yep, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. And that's because our old chairs were burned up. There was a big fire in our house, and all the other chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. And that wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals and she had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus and we were looking at everyone's tulips, and she was saying she liked the red tulips and I said I liked the yellow ones. And then we came to our block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbours stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and he ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, she's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our house was spoiled. What was left of the house turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy, and then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow, the floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbours bought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they bought a lot of other things too. The family across the street bought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My Grandpa bought us his big, beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, bought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin bought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very much. It's lucky we're young and can start over." That was last year. But we still have no sofa and no big chairs. And when Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers from the nickels and dimes and quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them up. On my mother's day off, we took the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills, and then we took the bus down to the shop to find our chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs, small ones, high chairs, low chairs, soft chairs, hard chairs. Mama said she felt like Goldilocks in the 3 Bears trying out all these chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out the chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it a while they carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma, Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks to people going by in the daytime, and Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. And after supper, I sit with her, and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap.
Hi, we hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe and share. We'll see you soon for the next story.